Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening to everyone in Nigeria, and good evening to everyone. Good afternoon to American people. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Sorry, can you hear me? In Nigeria, and good evening to everyone. Good afternoon to American people. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Sorry, can you hear me? Nigeria, and good evening to.
Yes, we can hear you, but it seems some other app is connected and that is repeating whatever you're saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think I've sorted that out. Thank you very much. So today we'll be starting with our academic seminar on maximizing opportunity of getting a graduate admission in the United States. So today we have wonderful personalities that have gone through the process, and they will be sharing with us their experience and how to go about securing admission, especially this time that it seems that getting admission is becoming very difficult. There are things you need to know to put. You don't just go and say, oh, I want to apply to a school, then you put a shabby statement of purpose, or you don't do your investigation about the school very well. You need to be sure of the things that you need before you can apply to any school to ensure that you get assistantship, like tuition waiver, a job that pays you stipend. So today we'll be looking at how to package your CV, how to write a good SOP, how to identify schools that have tuition waiver. We're also going to be looking at what graduate committee are looking for and what potholes to avoid. You know, there are some schools or program that when you apply for, they actually call you for an interview, but there are some, they judge you automatically by your SOP. So you want to know which one and how to avoid what can cause you not getting an admission. So today I have with me here Joel Abodemi. He is currently a PhD student at the Purdue University. He's studying mechanical engineering, if I'm correct. He was Erasmus scholar in the Europe. That's how he gained his master's, but now he's here in the United States with us, and he will be sharing insights with us. Also, we also have Oluwaseyi Ogini. Oluwaseyi Ogini, he actually graduated his master's program from business analytics from the North Dakota State University. So it will be sharing insights with us here today. I'll be introducing the last person along the way. So right now, without taking too much of our time, because we intend to finish in 2 hours, if you have any question and you're on the WhatsApp group, you can just send your question to the group, or you can send a question to the number, the contact that is tagged on the group, or you can actually drop your question in the chats. I'll be checking as we go on. So I'll be welcoming right now with us Joel Abodiri. It will be starting with us and he will be sharing insights of what to look out for, how to package a CV, also sharing a part of his experience of how he got his admission. So I welcome Joel.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Just give me a few minutes. Make this thing's clear. Everybody's not showing their video. Show me to I should hide my video.
Show your video. I'm showing my video.
Um, okay. It actually works. Just give me a sec, please. Okay. Hi, everybody. So how are we doing? So I'm supposed to share a video, a PowerPoint. So
Yeah,
just give
you can
me.
share.
Okay, I see some very familiar faces. Their names, at least I see my sister. So okay, so let me quickly share my screen. Okay, so just not to waste time. Thanks to my screen, please. Can you all
Yes,
see my screen?
yes, we can.
Great. So I'm just gonna quickly do this because I also have to run somewhere. Good day, everyone. My name is Joe. I am Nigerian, so there's no need to ask too much. So I'll just try to share a few things about how you can get graduate opportunities in the US, and probably just also give you some of the things you probably would need. Also, more importantly, these are from my own perspective. So uh, there are a lot of people having different perspective. I'm just going to share what I think. So it's not general. So don't take it like a rule, right? So um so I think what I'm going to be sharing on is to just majorly about 4 things, even though I have 7 things listed. One is the overview of your CV. What would make your CV stand out? And this is very important because the CV that I used for my European application is significantly different from the one I used for the US. So it's important to see what are the differences. We're going to ask, I think the organizers wanted me to talk about the importance of GRE, the importance of TOEFL, what exactly are admission committees interested in, then maybe the portals in your application. I'll kind of cover the two together. And they were a little biased because I'm from the engineering perspective, so they wanted me to be a little biased in the engineering guys. So I'll just give you some skills, but more importantly, I found some skills that were important across board. So stay tuned. This will be fast, and if you have questions, you can just drop it for me. Okay, so let's get started. So I've been able to itemize this your CV, the things that are important and the things that are that you cannot do without, and then the nice to haves, right? This is very important because there's some very interesting things that they should be in every CV. So okay, I don't know. Is there a sound on the net? Okay, it's from my end, sorry. Okay, so I'm supposed to be somewhere else. All right. The must-haves in your CV is that you have to have your research interest. You know, where are you interested in? Are you interested in business admin? Whatever you're interested in is very important. In fact, I think that's the most important question, which I have put as one. You need to be able to crystallize the things that you are interested in and just put it out there. If, for example, you are interested in Greek or in economics or in engineering, find out the things that you're interested in. Not just, you wouldn't just say, oh, I want to study mechanical engineering. What part of mechanical engineering are you interested in? And there is an easy way to find this. You can go to big schools, say the Ivy League schools, and see how they categorize some of these aspects of engineering. The reason why I say this is because, or the aspect of the course you're interested in doing. The reason why I say this is because if you had done a master's, for example, you'll be more streamlined. You would exactly know where you're interested in. But if you're directly coming from an undergrad degree, you might not exactly know where you are interested in. So looking at the categories from these schools would help you choose where you're going. And I also wanted to say that every CV, make sure you have a CV for every universities you're applying to. If you're applying to 6 universities, don't just say, oh, because I use this for University A, I use it for University B, right? Find out where the term your research interest in their own field. For example, I'm working in a desalination system, energy systems, and simulation. In some universities, this is under the energy part of mechanical engineering. In some schools, it's under thermal fluids. Do you understand? So by your CV, one can really tell if you've done your homework. So if you have any question on that, of course, your education, number two. Education, of course, you must have gone to school before grad school, right? So you want to quickly itemize that 3 things are very important: the university, the name of the university, which you can see in bold, the country is very important, the date, the period in which you did school. And some people would want to also put the CGPA you graduated with if it's something you want to put there, right? You can just highlight it there so that it's important that the person reviewing can easily see. Technical skills. The reason why the order is very important is because these are the things they would first of all look at, right? They want to know your research interest. They really want to know your background. They want to know the skills you're going to be bringing on board. That's all their technical skills, right? And I will break down the technical skills as we go on. Then your research experience, you want to put, oh, where have I had research experience? And this might be challenging, especially for people who maybe you just finished their undergrad and you're like, what research experience am I going to put? It's not rocket science. While you were in school, there's some things undergrad, there were some term papers, there were some even assignments that you did that can tell us some research experience you did. I might be biased in engineering aspect, but I could also shift to maybe art. There were some reviews you did, right? You couldn't have gone through your undergrad without having some reviews. In fact, sometimes it could be working with a professor or some assignments that were, that, oh, this assignment was really great and it was something that you had interest in. So you can put as a research experience, especially if you took For example, if you took a semester, you see that's enough. For people in agric, for example, they did maybe they did a whole semester on the farm. That's a research experience. So you see, maybe you graduated from school and you worked um in something that related to your field while you're doing your NYC or something. That's also a research experience. So don't look at the big name, right? Just um yeah, if you have had a teaching experience, it's very important to put it. It might not be a teaching experience in an higher institution. It might just be like tutoring. It's very important, right? Your work experience, right? You can also put that. Now, the important to have is you can notice that it's not a mistake that I put 8 before 7. Um, Professional membership, you might want to put it, I could have put that as nice to have, but you see, publications could be there if you have. And if you do not have, it's okay, right? I know a lot of people have different diverse opinion about this and say you must have publications, you must, well, I didn't necessarily have publications because this were not publications per se, these were preprints. So if you come to the academics fair, you know that if you're thinking of a paper and then you have not yet pushed it to peer review, maybe things like Elsevier, those journal paper, you can push it to preprint where people can have access to it, and yet it's not yet peer reviewed. So, I mean, I live in a big world. Scholarships and awards, if you have them, project and presentations. You see, maybe you presented your thesis in school. Um, you can put that there, right? Maybe your internship, your even honorary presentations in class that you did with a group of people, right? If you can remember those things, and you have if you did them, I mean, you would remember them. And so if you are quizzed about them, you are able to give good answers, right? Nice to have if you have some sort of like further education, training, and certification. What you must know is that you don't put nice to have first, right? Or important to have before must haves. Must haves are like some of the things that they want to see. I'm sure that the other people would have better things to say about that, but that's what I have to say. I'm going to cover what's the importance of GRE and importance of TOEFL next. Um, Now, again, one of the most important thing about should you have a GRE, should you not have a GRE? There's a long debate about this. I want to categorically say that this, like, would, in my opinion, again, I told you my full disclaimer, in my opinion, it depends on the university, the admission requirement of your university. If your university says that it's needed, then it's needed, right? Sometimes the university will say, oh, we need it, we don't need it, but your own department will say you should have it. So that's very important. Now, it's not just about having GRE, it's about what are your scores, right? For somebody in engineering, the quants, for example, the quantitative analysis will be more important or way more than the verbal. There's also like a university or a university average. For example, they say don't have below 300. So I know this is a very a very painful part of it. But the way you can look at it again is that you can decide not to go to schools that ask for GRE. It's something you can do, right? So however, it gives you the competitive advantage, right? In some places they say put it if you have, don't put it if you have. I believe personally that it probably would give you some competitive advantage. But the other aspect that I think is that your GRE does not necessarily mean that you get an admission, and it does not deny you from an admission. To be honest, I have coached people who the school asked for a GRE, the department asked for a GRE, and they did not have a GRE, right? And the professors were interested in them and they waived it for them. So you see, it depends. And I would explain further, I think, in the next thing I want to say about what should you expect in application and whatever. The same thing go for TOEFL. TOEFL is English test, right? One can say TOEFL, one can say IELTS. I never did TOEFL because I mean, I was in Europe and enjoyed Europe, so I did IELTS. But you can do TOEFL, or most importantly, if you're from Nigeria, Ghana, from English-speaking country, I see no reason why you should do TOEFL. You write to the admission board. I do not want to, I studied in English, right? I can I can communicate in English. I used to have a running joke while I think it was a university in Europe that asked me, and I was like, I can speak better English than your prime minister or something. Don't do that, please. So what does the admission committee look forward to? Okay. What does the admission committee, the expectations of the admission committee? Now, this is where you would want to you would want to pay a little more attention. I think that what the admission committee is looking forward to is you. You are the most important thing. And I think people miss this. You are the one who decide your research interests. It's from you that you, of course, have academic background, and grades are important. Um, and then it is you also that contacts the research advisor. And one of the things that you must quickly note, especially when you're doing things like masters or PhD, because they're grad school work, it is not necessarily your what weighs more among the three things I have put here, to be honest, is your research interests and your research interest and your advisor. Who is an advisor? You might want to ask. It will be the prof. Every master student get to work with a supervisor. Every PhD student get to work with a supervisor who who guides you through your research. You understand? So you're working in their labs, right? Now, they are the ones that actually do the requirement in my own case in engineering. However, in when you get to places like the biological sciences and other places, I think from what I've seen, the department would, I might be wrong again. I mean, the department would be the one to admit you and pay you and whatnot. But from my own perspective, you would still need a research advisor, no matter where you are. As a graduate student, you still need a advisor. So I'm trying to beat the time. Um, the advisor would be the one to um would be the one to probably nominate you to the department, and the department nominates you, whatever. But when you have a good interaction with your advisor, and that's why you hear a lot of people say send cold emails and things like that. For me, I simply went to the university I was interested in, right? Which meant that I knew my research interest, which also meant that I knew the universities that could offer me what I wanted. Do you see? So it's me that I'm actually deciding this. And then I look at the advisors. Who am I interested in working with? Do you understand? And when I found out, I sent them a cold email. Now, if you have done some of this homework, I hear a lot of people say, oh, they send messages to advisors, they never get. I want you to understand that they are really busy, to be honest. However, when you know how to, and how is how to, it's majorly knowing what you want. By the time I sent to most of the people I sent to, it was not hard to get a quick response because I had I had their research interests, my research interest aligned with what they were doing. One, two, they had um because it aligned, I had read their papers. Do you see? And I was interested and I knew what they wanted. And so um I could easily send something to them that, oh, this is where I'm doing. I have read about you. One of the things you should know is that whenever you're sending a message to people, they don't know you from anywhere. So if you can tell them, if you can demonstrate your own interest in them, right, that works. Now, your presentation, all admission requirements, right? So you would not, okay, give me 10 more minutes. I don't even know how to use because I have to run away. But presentation means that all admission requirements. So for example, if your university says that they want, what can they say? They want GRE, right? And take it like that. Don't say, oh, I'm not going to put a GRE. I'm going to, do you understand? Why there's a place where you would want to write to them, oh, I don't need a GRE. If you are in, this is March, right? I guess. Yeah, this is March. Admission is still, for next year, for example, is still, that's if you're coming in fall next year or even spring next year. That means if you are resuming in January next year, um, now is to that time still a long time. You can write GRE. Do you understand what I'm saying? The idea is not perfection, it's not having 340 over 400. I think they've changed 340 over 340. I think they've even changed it right now. I don't know how it works right now, but you should, it's not perfection. You should have it, right? Have all admission requirements. It's very important. So, for example, if they say that you should have had a research advisor before you apply. You see, those are admission requirements. And the way I do it is that I first of all take a whole week understanding the requirements. Communication is very important. It's not necessarily, oh, you rushing into what you want to apply. First of all, know what the school is asking you. Right? It's very important. So when you've read the admission requirements, then you can be able to get your own documents ready. Do you understand? And getting your own documents ready could even mean your transcript and things like that. Now, interview is also, you do an interview. I did an interview, so I don't know about some people, but I did an interview, and how you present is also very important. And this is the part I would say that you should probably reach out, especially this kind of platform is very good. Reach out to them, reach out to a lot of people online who can help you. Save people, please. Don't meet people who are just who the world is not a safe place. But do interviews, check interviews online, right? How am I supposed to respond? I will tell you how my own interview was. My own interview was just showing them what I had done in my master's, right? And what I'm interested in doing. You understand? So when you're pretty confident of what you know, and by the way, as I was saying, some people who are just leaving the university think that they do not have a lot of things. I would be showing you in the skills, the things that are really important, especially to do a PhD. A PhD is not PhD or master's. It's not about intelligence, right? It's about how how resilient you are, how balanced you are, how you can manage your time and all. So it's a privilege for you to do it, meaning that they're happy to have you. You understand? So interview and availability. This will look, oh, what does availability mean? You have to be checking your emails, right? You have to be checking, you have to be available just in case um uh they send you an email of, oh, we have an interview. Sometimes if you're in the US, for example, one of my friends is coming to Purdue, right? They will invite you over to come and check the school, right? And pay for your flight and all. But I don't know about internationally. So I did not come to the US before coming. But yeah, and your visa status, please don't commit crimes. So if you commit crimes now, they will let you enter the US. And the school does not necessarily have the school cannot override the country, right? So don't commit crimes, don't be eligible, right? And then just so that's it. You can ask me questions about that. The next thing we'll be talking about the skills, engineering skills and questions. Now, not just engineering, as I said, they told me to talk about not just engineering. So I'm just going to dive right into it. Now, forget that I said engineering skills on top of this. One of the things I should tell you, first of all, whether you're an engineer, whether you are from the sciences, when we talk about skills is not first of all the use of a software. It's not maybe because you can clone in the lab or whatever. That's not first of all the skills, right? Skills again is about selling yourself. Like for example, in engineering, one of the first skills, to be honest, that you would need is fundamentals of probably mathematics, fundamental engineering basics, things like calculus, things like thermodynamics, things like fluid mechanics. I would think, for example, in if you're in biology, for example, things like chemistry, to be honest, how deep is your chemistry and all these things? Because these are questions that they're going to ask you. And more than what they would ask you in your interview, these are questions that you would These are things you would meet in your real day, your real research. So it's very important to have them. And if you can remember, I don't know if some of you follow basketball. Mamba, one of the things he says is about he does not get bored with basics, to be honest. One of the things I've spent much of my time learning in PhD is the simple things, right? Relearning the basics. And this is very important before any skill, right? And maybe before even talking about card skills and all, I'm going to jump to this yellow that I wrote must have presentation skills. You see, I'm not necessarily talking about the core skills of you will learn all those things. If you have the opportunity to start learning some of the skills you would need, start. When I mean maybe core skills, right? In your department, maybe biology, chemistry, core skills of revising back your chemistry, doing some short courses, just refreshing your memory on those things, right? Is very important. Presentation skills is very important. Communication and writing. Oh, Jesus. What is, I'm tired. What is a PhD or research or or master's without writing? Communication is very important because you would unnecessarily it's very important. And let me tell you why. Because, for example, even if you're going to present to the day you're going to do your interview, right? Some of the things they want to see is can they hear you when you speak? Are you confident? I'm not talking about your accent. I'm just talking about you being able to speak, right? Being able to communicate. Yeah, we've done English and all, but learn, I mean, watch movies, the things that can help you. These things, they look small, but they are very important. Social skill is very important, right? The one in green. You want to know how to work in a team, right? Yeah, that's very important. Like, because in your research, you'll be in a group, you before with people from different part of the world. When I was doing my master's, I think we had people from over maybe four continents, 11 countries or so. Do you see? You would have to learn how to work in a team, right? How to be tolerant by knowing that your own social background is different from somebody else's social background, right? So it's very important, right? Be punctual. It might look small, right? And missing meetings, right? Things like that are very, very be responsible, right? Not that they will give you. I think I've done some interview where the person just tells me to go and work on this and come back. It's not that you go and try to copy somewhere. Try to really do what you do. Put some effort. Be responsible. PhD is going to stress you. Master is going to stress you. Leaving your home, your comfort zone, no matter how Nigeria or wherever you are from is looking like it's so bad. I can tell you that you are going to miss a home. So know how to have fun, right? And yeah, so it's very important. So in terms of maybe engineering skills, I would say that again, the basics are very important. Calculus, thermodynamics, fluid mechanics. You can add solid mechanics. Maybe you should not use some general CAD tool, which I think that if you went to some I don't want to mention my school because I'm proud of I'm a proud product of Obafemi Awolowo University. You should be able to do just some skills, right? Some solid works. You don't need to know how to use everything. One or two, you will learn. So maybe one of the skills I should have put here is continuous learning because that's the sole purpose of everything. So I think I make it in time. Maybe I still have 8 minutes. Let me see. Do I still have anything? Yeah, thank you for your audience. I think I'm going to stop here. If you have a quick question before the time elapses, I probably would answer you and then come back later to, yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Joel. That was very insightful. The CV part was really, really good because I know so many times we just write CV like in Nigerian, put our name. I remember when I was submitting my application, I actually put all this Nigerian name, date of birth, all those things. Oh, but of course, yeah. I'm sure they understand that these people are from village. So yeah, that was a very powerful section. Yeah, we'll take questions after. The John needs to run now. Hopefully we'll be able to join us for the question and answer period. But if not, like I said, I've not gotten any questions so far. But if you have question, you can still drop it in. So we'll be going to the next speaker for the day.
Maybe can you hear me for me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Since Joel is going, if anybody has question for him, they can quickly ask him now. Maybe we can take
Okay.
like one or two, if anybody has, so that we will not delay him further.
Oh, okay then.
But maybe two maximum.
Okay. All right. The floor is open. If you have any question for Dr. Joel, you can ask now because he will not is rushing to a place. We are actually privileged to have him join us. Yeah, so the floor is open for questions. Oh, you can ask openly, you can drop it in the chat, anyone. You can unmute and ask. Mr. Adetayo Adesonya.
All right, thank you very much. What I want to ask is about how do you know the I've forgotten the term now. Somebody will be research advisor. Are you going to go to the school website? How do you get them? That's my question. Because you said you need to have like a background of what the school wants, maybe the department, or what the research advisor themselves want. So how do you get them? That's my question.
I think for that question, since it's still part of what we do at the later part, and so maybe Joel should not answer that one for now. So we attend to it later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any question? Any question relating to what Joel has talked about? Okay, yeah.
I have a question. Good, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Joe, for the insightful session. Okay, so I have a question. I'm actually looking at applying for a MSc in business analytics. You understand? And I understand that Dr. Joel has been talking about research and all of that. So I would like him to like clarify for someone that wants to go for MSc in business analytics. Are you going for a research program? You understand? And this person is also looking at getting a graduate assistantship. You understand? So are you going for a research program or, so that's my question.
Thank you so very much, Oluwaseun. I'm not a ton doctor, but yes, we prophesy its glory. So that's a very beautiful question. So I would say that I don't have all the answers. So but in terms of business analytics, probably some of the people here would give you a better answer. However, this is what I know. When you come for a master's in business analytics, I don't necessarily think you are coming for a research. No. If you are going for PhD, then maybe that would be research. But in masters, you would still, so research does not necessarily mean like reading or whatever, or studying deeply about something. It could also mean applying business stuff. You can be doing your masters and still in the US and still be connected, do an internship in a business, a company in the US or something. So business, when you're coming for a master's, it's not necessarily that you're coming for research. I just called it that big name, right? So you're coming for a master's, and I think even when you're looking for masters in business analytics, sometimes they would not even say GRE. They might say that GRE and GMAT, right? So it's not just research, it's just that's the word I'm used to. When you say grad students, you're doing research. So research does not necessarily mean that it's all tailored toward the academia, right? You can be doing business analytics, and yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
All right, Joel, thank you for the answer. I mean, I think you answered very well, but I think Ogini is the other person that be talking. he already has his master in business analytics. So he probably will also be able to talk more on that question. So the person that asked the question should expect that the next speaker will probably talk more on it, since that is actually where he had his own master. But yes, what Joel said is very correct and true. Just that Okini will add more from his own experience, being that he finished from the same department. Thank you. Thank you, Joel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate how you handled. I mean, I love the estimate that you put into the work you do. I mean, what you did, especially the CV, the graphic. That was a very wonderful one. Thank you very much. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Joel. That was a wonderful section we just had. So we're going to the next speaker. The person of Oluwaseyi Ogini. He finished his master's in business analytics from the North Dakota State University. So I'll be welcoming Oluwaseyi Ogini to start.
Okay, good afternoon from here. Let me try to see if my video is gonna work. I'm so sorry, like the reason why I didn't put on the video is because I was at a choir rehearsal, so I had to quickly jump out to do this. Can we hear me clearly?
Yes, we
Oh,
can.
okay. So sorry, I'm not no, I saw Oga Joe, like the way, when you see people that are in research and you see how they structure their things. But we in the business lines, we don't really like, we just see it's more of the, how do I even put it? So we're not that serious in our own in our field. Okay, so I actually do not have any slide prepared for this, but I have a couple of questions that were sent to me by the organizers that I will do some bit of justice to the best of my knowledge. So then we can have questions later. So one of the things I know that a couple of things that sent to me was to talk on writing a strong SOP, um, the things to avoid, the things that an SOP should contain, and what would be some of the tips in writing an effective SOP. So another part would be how to secure an admission. How do you get a tuition waiver? Because that's very, very important to accept you. Maybe your parents are so rich and they are able to fund your education here in the US. Then how do people cross from other fields to business analytics? We do know that not everybody has the business background or maybe coming from the computer science or technology background. So what are the skills required? Okay, SOP means statement of purpose. So just like I think Mr. Joe did a bit of justice to how important that is in your application. So I'm just going to put a bit of details into what he has already talked about in the start. So SOP is so critical to students, especially when you're aiming for a post-bachelor's degree, which means you could be doing a master's or maybe you have a master's before then you're looking forward to doing your PhD. And writing an effective SOP, we'll talk about how well the admission committee is going to see your seriousness, like he mentioned, and the research interest. So for those in the business line, I don't think we have anything research. Most time we usually do the capstone project, but still yet, what we would like to be a research interest is like, what do you want to use this program for? So what goal are you trying to reach, or how is that going to make you a better person after you're done with the program? So I broke that into subs. So what are the things you need to include in your SOP? So I'm sorry that I don't have a slide. Maybe you just have your pen and paper so you could put some things down. So the first and most important thing is an introduction. Tell us briefly about it, because the people reading that in maybe few lines of sentences, they want to be able to know who you are and what your interest is in that particular chosen field which you're writing about, and what's your motivation to pursue the program. Because for people right here in the West and most of these countries, they really want to know what is um, the main motivator behind this thing. So it's not as if like sometimes back in Nigeria when you work, so that you can earn money, you can do this, but it has to be more than that. There has to be a major thing that is pushing you, or whatever is the baseline of your interest in that particular program. So your introduction is very, very important, and that is going to say how well the person is going to read through. So if your introduction is not catchy or does not interest the person might not be willing, because remember that the first few seconds of that your SOP is going to go a long way if the person has interest in reading all through that. So the second important thing is your academic background. So where are you coming from? So what are the key courses you did? So there are some of the things we did back in school that we did not accrue so much importance to. Here, it all matters. I remember when I was going to write something about my sales experience, I used what my mommy did. My mom sells pure water, all this sachet pure water we have back at home. That's what I used to create a sales experience that I refill. I see when the inventory level is down. You just put some catchy words around those, and that's exactly what we're looking at in here. So what are your academic achievements, your accolade, no matter how small it is, it's how you package it. Some of us did some little politicking back in school, did one little thing. When you repackage that, give it a big name. And that's how it goes. Sometimes it's just about what is the specific thing you did? How did that add value to people? Then how did that make you a better person? So, like Joel said, especially if you're going in the research line, you're talking about what research experiences have you had. But for those in the business line, you might not have so much research experience. You'll be talking about maybe some projects you did. For me now, I'm a business analyst, so I look at some of the things I did in Power BI or some of the things I did in Tableau, or maybe some projects that I actually organized and how we deal about logistics, the funding, the allocation of resource, the woman resource, and the whatever we've got. So those are the things that form the basis of your experience. So I've talked about introduction. I've talked about your academic background being the second thing. The third thing is the professional experiences. So, and that is what will be most important for those who are going in the business line. Because now, what have you done? Have you gone through some relevant jobs? Are there internships you've done? Even volunteer works? Whatever you've done, add up to what your experience is. Are there skills you develop through those jobs or internship, or maybe your volunteer experience? So are there things that you achieve that actually add value? Because as much as we talk, some things, when we talk about value, it's not about the one that we have to ourselves only, but how does that impact the life of those around you? So that's a very big indicator of you being not just a selfish person, but one that is more important, more pushed by adding impact to his environment. So don't forget, as you're writing this SOP, whatever you're using as your pointer has to be linked up to what you're going to do. So my experience in doing A and B gave me social skills and this is going to be instrumental in the program I'm going to do in so place. So that's just saying, okay, this person has the background knowledge, has the background experience, and he also knows the applicability of those skills to whatever he or she is going to do. So I've talked about three things. The fourth thing will be, what is the reason for choosing that program? Joe mentioned something that you have to do your assignment. That is very, very important. And all schools are not the same, and different academic advice or different people with different interests. So you really need to know what they are doing, what this is all about. Then you write a tailored and specific SOP on that. So what faculty, you mentioned what faculty you're trying to work with, and what made you choose that school? He did mention that sometimes Purdue asks people to come in there to see what the school looked like. It's like you doing, when you do your research, you might not have the opportunity to travel in. So write online, read reviews, see what people are saying about the school, see what things that you think that might be able to add value to you. And that's the reason why you're coming for them. That's the reason why you're applying to that school. So I think that makes the 14. The 15 is your career goal. Now, for those in the research line, you could always say, okay, I have this research interest and co. So, but for you, if you're in the business line or non-research related line, let's put it that way, it means that whatever skills you're gaining, how would you be able to use that for yourself? And what does that make you? I'll put that into a practice. Yeah. So all my years in Nigeria, I worked much like a salesperson. At some point, I moved into operations management. So I remember one of the things I said to the VO at the VO, that's the visa officer, where I was in my visa interview, was that, okay, I'm going for a program in business analytics, and the goal is that there's so much data out there, and we're looking for how we're going to structure that to make it for decision making and things like that. So if I get this skill, this is how I'm going to make an impact in so field and so field, and this is going to be the resultant effect on human lives. So you need to always connect those dots. Where you are, what you're trying to do, what skills you're going to gain from it, and how would that affect you as a person and also the society as a whole. So you might want to break that into a short-term or long-term goal, depending on the length of what the SOP is. So one thing I would say is that SOPs sometimes for a general standard would be maybe 1 page, 2 page long, but you need to look at the specifics of what the school is saying on how the SOP should be structured and how many pages or what length it should be. So that is very, very important because if you cannot follow very simple instruction, then it will be hard for anybody to even read whatever you've written in that document. So another thing is, what are your personal qualities? What are your strengths? Do you have leadership experiences? Can you work as I know that Joel did mention about teamwork, collaboration skills, problem solving skills as part of what the things he talked about as skills required. So what is the importance of this thing? Um, when we talk about things you want to learn in terms of the art skills, those can be learned. Anybody can learn, teach you art skills, but soft skills comes with your personality. So one thing that people look out for is I can always teach you the hard skills, but it's hard for me to teach you the soft skills. So what are you bringing to the table? Have you been in one leadership position or the other? No matter how big, you don't need to be maybe one big position. It might just be very, very maybe even to your church. If you're sorry, if you're in the church or maybe you're Muslim or whatever you're doing within your society that does have impact on people and you're leading a group of people, put that out in a way that it aligns with whatever you want to do on the long term. So the last thing will be, which is the concluding part, which is your closing statement. Okay, your closing statement will be like, what is your passion about this? What is the level of your preparedness? Recall that we've mentioned about your leadership ability, talking about your educational background. Why it is important? You're only saying to them that, okay, having accrued so thing, having done so thing, this is why I'm so interested in so program, and this is how prepared I am. Because one thing they also want to check is if we give this person admission, is this person able to cope? So, but having lined up those things right on the front, you're able to give a very strong closing statement on that. However, there's still one more part in the closing part. Your relationship with the school is not one-sided. It's supposed to be mutual. So if you're saying the school based on social thing that you've seen that they have that will impact you to become a better person in your career, what are you bringing to the table for them too? So what are you going to do? How do you impact your community? How do you help them pursue the goal of diversity within their community? So those are the things that I mentioned that will be important to your SOP. Talk about your introduction, your academic background, your professional experiences, reason for choosing that program. What are your career goals? What personal qualities or traits or strengths do you have? And put up your conclusion. Now, sometimes people usually try to share, okay, maybe I'll get that towards the later part. Okay, so what are the things you need to avoid in an SOP? One thing is that some people are so lazy that they just go online and copy an SOP and bring it out verbatim. An SOP is said a statement of purpose. It's supposed to be personal. So avoid vague statements that do not that could apply to anyone. So we want to hear your own specific story. Share your specific experience. And when we talk about experience, your experience doesn't to you might look is not relevant. Like I told you, I used my mom selling pure water as a sales experience. Yeah. Okay, well, people come to buy. I looked at the inventory level when it's how much is this? We're not talking about a business up to 1,000 naira back then. So it's just the way you package and make it right. So repeating your resume, an SOP is not the same as a resume. For every application you do, you would have an opportunity to attach your resume. So your SOP is not supposed to simply list the achievement. It's supposed to provide a context before you achieve that thing and what impact that thing made. You might not have the opportunity to put that much on your resume, and your resume might even have a lot of things right in there. But your SOP is supposed to pick a specific part, say the context, how did that impact people, then how would that affect the program you're trying to pursue. So another thing to avoid is negativity. Sometimes we have some bad experiences, sometimes we have our weaknesses. One thing we want to learn from your weakness is that what are you doing to make that weakness turn into strength? So when you talk about your failures you've had, what did you learn from that failure? And how did that make you a better person? And always try to align in with whatever program you're going for. Then I talked about the word limits. Adhere strictly to the word limit they've told you. They say, write a 2,000 words SOP. It has to be exactly 2,000 or less. Because when they do a word counter and that if it's more, you're already done because you have not listened to the simplest of instruction on that. So nobody is going to rush you on anything, which means take your time in writing. And that's going to take us into the tips for writing an effective SOP. Start early. No matter what it is, like I think he mentioned that if you're looking at the program in January, I think he mentioned that when he was talking about GRA. So if you know this is what you want to do, have a plan, have a timeline, and set some. If you need an accountability partner, get somebody to hold you responsible for the things you committed to doing. That way, you will not be in a rush that leads to making mistakes. So customize your SOP to talk about you genuinely, something about you, not something vague that anybody could have picked up on the internet. Try to share your true experience. A true experience is not something anybody could uh, um, call to question because it's your personal experience and you have the right to be able to share it in a way that people can understand that. So revise and edit. That is very, very important. Let there be clarity, let there be coherence for that SOP to make the impact that you desire on it. So those are the things I thought to talk about on SOP. If you're able to do those, I'm sure you should be able to get a very good SOP that puts you right there in the limelight. So the second thing I was told to talk about is what is required to secure admission, tuition waiver, GA in your field. Just to put that there, I did not get GA or what do we call it, scholarship before I left Nigeria. I took so much risks. But when I got into the US, I actually got a GA. So this is the reason why I'm putting that there is that some people might just think that if I don't get this, there's no way around it. There are ways around it, but it's actually a good to have because it gives you a better position and when you go for your interview, and it also gives you a bit of rest of mind. Sincerely, I could not, like, the first few months was crazy. When you have worked in Nigeria and you're not owing, you're debt free, your mind is at rest. But you got into the US in the space of 2-3 weeks, you're owing even more than you've ever seen in your life. That some thoughts might come up. So what I would say under that section is when it comes to securing admission, I think Joel did a great job in talking about that. Every schools know what they want exactly, and you need to take your time to read through that and see what their specific requirements needs. So bringing that down to the business analytics world, and I think they said non-STEM. I think they wanted to say STEM program because business um, business analytics is actually STEM, which is science, technology. Which one is the E? But then mathematics is the last one. So these are much of courses that involve aptitude, a bit of tech, part, a lot of researching and code. So for business related field, one of the biggest skill you need there is your aptitude skill, your problem solving skill. Can you critically think? And he mentioned the importance of GRE. So some business schools allow GRE, some say you need a GMAT for that. So look at the specific admission requirement. The fact that they said you must have GRE or GMAT does not mean that there might not be some conditions for waiver. As they are for my own case, when I looked at my school, it did say I need to get one of GRE or GMAT. but I applied for a tuition waiver. I applied for a GRE waiver. There's a clause underneath there which says, if you have at least 5 years of post-bachelor's experience, then that can help you qualify for a GRE or GMAT waiver. So at that time, I was doing my MBA. So I just used my MBA with my experience working as a basis for waiver, which was granted. But that came at a cost. Things are highly competitive now. Now, this is you competing with fellow Nigerians and also competing for with Indians, with Chinese, who even have better aptitude skills than us. So if I'm waiving GRE or GMAT for you, when I'm looking at when it's time for me to give out assistantship or tuition waivers or funding, I have to put people based on the skills or what they're bringing on the table. So for you have to have asked for GRE or GMAT waiver, you have actually thrown out a chance. So you should ask yourself, if I want a waiver on this, what am I bringing on the table? So that comes to the fact that maybe you have a very, very big experience that nobody can fight that. Maybe you've got a lot of certifications. Maybe you've done some big projects that it's really hard for anybody to, like, they're really visible. Let's say, for example, with someone who has worked on a CDC or WHO project and involved a lot of business analysis and code like that. These are well-recognized bodies, and if you put that on your resume, that is a big hit. So when you're asking for something to be taken off, like getting a waiver, you should also ask yourself, what would I use as a substitute to still make my application to be worthwhile? So just to put this in, business analytics is actually a STEM program. However, some schools do business analytics as part of their MBA program. So most MBA programs are not STEM because they see it as a professional program. And when you come to the US, one thing I say to people is that when you come here, always know what is the end in mind. So when you know what the end in mind is, then you can plan properly. What's the difference here? A STEM program allows you to have, there's this mandatory 1 year after your study to be able to work in the US, but STEM gives you an additional 2 years, which you have opportunity to use. And that's the difference. So the reason why people kind of go for that sometimes is that, okay, when they're still trying to find a job in here, they still have 2 years to play around and get their visa or immigration stuff sorted. So it's one thing to consider when you're doing your application, except you're going in for PhD and that way. So I hope I still have little time. So another question was how to cross from other fields to business analytics. Okay. I'm actually a case study. I like to use myself as a case study. I started out as a microbiologist back in Ife, but I have my senior here. Ebenezer was my senior back then. They were still pushing us around, but I didn't. I don't think I practiced for one day. As soon as I finished, I just dropped my certificate. I moved into sales and marketing. So, how does a person from microbiology move into sales and marketing? So, I just used some of the things I did back in school, and somebody was ready to believe in me, internship and all those stuff. That is how I started my career in sales. Then I moved into operations management. So that is how I started. Then I did an MBA. For an MBA, I applied for a business analytics program. So that is my own flow. One thing you should know about business analytics is that analytics is a field or that is needed across all sectors. You talk about health, talk about finance, talk about administration, talk about school, anywhere. So which means that whatever whatever you've done, even if you're an agri person or maybe you did Yoruba, the question is how do you want to apply the skills? Business analytics is not like how do I put it? It's something that teaches you some skills about data, how to work with data and all those stuff. Then how do you want to use that to better your field or pursue your career goals? So when you are thinking about crossing, especially when you do not have the technology background or the business background, you need to come up with a convincing SOP on where you're coming from, what you need to gain from that program in business analytics, and how will that impact or help you in your career goal. So that is the most important question you need to ask yourself. Why? When you're thinking of crossing. from the field to the field of business analytics. But it's so big, it's so wide. You only need to find your niche where you know that whatever you want to do has a bit of application. So the last part I wasn't sure of what this part will address, but I think Toby Joel kind of gave some context to that. So what skill set are required? I think he mentioned some of those things right there. I was just going to add to it that critical thinking ability is non-negotiable. You have to be able to think outside the box. It's really important for your survival out here. A lot of things are going to put you as a disadvantage. However, if you are a very good thinker, if you're a problem solver, if you have some technical aptitudes, especially I think for baseline, you can have some skills in Excel. So, but if you have more opportunities, maybe you're able to do some technological, have access to some technological, some applications like Power BI, Tableau, maybe some languages such as SQL. If you know SQL, it's a big deal. If you know some bit of programming language, Python or R. So you necessarily don't need to know the two languages, but if you know it, it's good. So you either do Python or R. So depending on your um your area of interest, where you want to do. A person that wants to go into data science now would definitely need one of Python or how, but I would say you should do more of Python because I have a diverse application. But if you are more in the research line, you want to do more of R in research because there are a lot of models in how that's going to help you in research. But if you're going to be in the business world, finance administration, do a lot of Python because that is going to help you in a different level. But SQL is a must have because you're going to deal with a lot of a lot of analysis. So in general, let's talk about call it your data skills. So if you know you have interest in data science or things like that, your mathematics or statistics skill is non-negotiable. You will need that. Okay, so I think I will leave it at that. Maybe when we have some questions, I'm able to put in some more things. So sorry, I didn't have a slide, but I could always send you this Word document I use as my guide.
That was very interesting. Thank you, Mr. Oluwaseyogini, and thank you for granting us this privilege. He actually told me we'll be in inquiry as but still made out time. So we really appreciate it. I don't know if you'll be able to stay till the end of the seminar to ask questions, but I know someone asked a question about research in business analytics when Joe was talking.
I think I answered that. When we talk about research, it's more of those like science related and things like that. But if you're in tech or business, you do capstone projects. They are not referred to as researches. Not as if that we don't have people in the field that does research too, but majorly they're only interested in your capstone projects.
All right, thank you very much. That was awesome.
So I have a question for Guinea.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like we did for Joel, since we don't want to disturb, I mean, we don't want to lead them further, it would be good.
Okay.
And if I ask question for them, can just ask them. Having said that, let me ask Ogini quickly my question. So
Okay.
you have a very not so common transition from microbiology to where you are now, business analytics, and that personally fascinates me. But as we're talking, I realized that you did MBA while you were in Nigeria, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then you also have some skills like Power BI and the likes. What do you think about somebody who was in your shoe like 10 years ago, who was just a fresh BSc graduate, but not having MBA and is having interest to come to the US to come and do master in business analytics? What advice do you have for that person? In other words, person does not have any experience in anything that has to do with business analytics before, doesn't want to apply and come and do it in the US. What will you advise?
Okay, for a fresh person, fresh, nothing. One thing is this, no, there's no way you are so fresh, especially if you go to a competitive school, which means that one way or the other, you've participated in something. and that is going to be the baseline to start with. So there are a lot of online courses that you can do. So during our time back in school, that was when Coursera just came in. That Coursera just came in. So they had a lot of program. We did Coursera those days for free. And those are the little things that form some of the skills we had as certifications. We couldn't afford to pay for anything then. So if you are just coming, you are not just coming empty. You have spent 4 years in school, which means you were doing something in that 4 years. So if you have not, if let's say today you've not had any certification and you want to do something in business analytics, go on Coursera today, go on EDX even offer some scholarship, go on trying to look at another school. I know Coursera is well taken, EDX is good. I can't remember. Just check for highly recognized MOOCs. That's massive open online course website. Do some courses, get some certifications. Those are going to help you in terms of giving you the skill and also giving you a certification that helps to prove that you've actually learned those skills. In the space of 3-4 months, if you're so serious, you can gather as many as possible certifications you need, which will help you. So that can cover for the loophole of not having that years of experience or maybe the MBA that I had on my end. So those are the things I started with, and that gave me the platform. So somebody
thank you, Ogini, that's really very good. I mean, there's somebody's asking that you should extend that question to what if the person has left school for like 10 years ago.
yes. So
Another person is saying that I have a degree in business education, work experience, sales, client service in the marketing industry, certificate, IBM data science. How possible is it for me to transition into business analytics? I don't know if you can combine those two questions together. Thank you.
Yeah, so the fact that you even have 10 years, you've left school 10 years ago, what were you doing in those 10 years? So those are the things you need to line up. So sometimes some of the things we do, even those period might not totally align, but we just need to look out for specific things within that 10 years that will help me put up a case for this new program. So if you have not been studying or doing anything, you still can get some skills. You definitely don't need to go to a university before you get some skills now today. It's an open world. Go online, get some few certification in line with what you want to do that will just support your case. So bringing that back to someone who has a business education, work experience, okay. How possible is it for you to transition into business analytics? For you to have an IBM data science certification, you're actually a business analyst. Let me put something into context. Sometimes it's just about the nomenclature here. You see, business analyst, data analyst, data scientist, business development, business intelligence developer, it's the same thing. The only thing is that the area of focus is what differs. Now, as a data analyst only do a bit of data wrangling in Excel and maybe do visualization in Power BI and Tableau. A business intelligence developer do more than that in terms they do like prepping of the data, they do some work in Spark, um, do some work on databases and and sometimes they might even bring in robotic process automation into it. So that is BI. Data science is more on the predictive analytics end, like you're using programming language, machine learning language to do things. And I think I mentioned one, business analysts. Business analysts also relative to data analysts, but they're better than data analysts in that they do more of data preparation, database storage, and all those stuff. So I say to you that you are more into business analytics now because you already have IBM data certification. You have a bit of sales background and all those stuff. Bring those two together, you should be good. Does that help?
Yes, I think that helps a lot. Thank you very much, Ogini. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do we have any other question in the house? You can unmute and ask the question, or you can drop it in the chat.
Okay.
Yes, I have a question here.
Okay, Dapo, you can go on.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity first off. And just to confirm, just like someone who has a science background and is just open to transition into the finance industry, of which in your SOP, you have to state what you have done, maybe as your project while you were in school, and maybe a little experience relating to the finance industry, of
Okay.
which you don't have any, like you are totally new to the industry. How do you think such a person should draft out certifications and skills to meet up with grad school? Thank you.
Okay. So like I said, if you think deeply, there's something you've done that you think is not relevant. I told you that I package selling pure. You know what I would do? Like Anthony just have a very small shop selling pure water. One pure water, 5 naira, 10 naira. How does that relate to sales? Money, how does that relate to inventory management? I just had to repackage it in a way that is good, and this is what I did. So if you cannot even remember anything, for these massive online open courses that you do, they give you some snippet of projects you do. Joel did mention that whatever, even in your during your undergraduate program, whatever you did that looks like you put one or two, three things together to make it happen. It's a project. Package it, give it a very good name, give some steps on, oh, this is what I did, make it rebranded. I tell you for free, like we have a lot of people that we've done a lot. For you to have survived in among 200 million population, it means that we are actually born competitors. There are things you've done. So sit down, think about it, and try to see how you realign it to what you want to do. You have it, you've done it. And if you see that there's something missing, go online, do few certification and courses. They will give you some capstone project. Use that as an experience for you to put up in your SOP. Sometimes wherever you're coming from is not as important as where you're going. Now, they want to see what's your passion, where did that stem from? We're not saying you are made up. If you are made up already, then you don't need to come to school. But you're coming to school because you identified a gap based on your interest and you're trying to pursue that with them. That is what they're more interested in. Okay, I have a master's in education. I've been teaching for 8 years and I want to transit to business analytics. Do I need to do another master's? Okay. Yes, since you had a business education, it had for what was your master's in, please?
Person said business education.
Yeah, but the person said, do I need to do another master? Master in what? What master did the person do? In what?
If the person did masters in business education, but the person is
Okay.
looking at going into business analytics. So she or he wants to know if she's to do another master's in business analytics, or she can just go to PhD straight.
Okay, so there are options for you. Most times you might not see a PhD in business analytics because it's a very, very wide field and you don't see that specialization. So you might have to go into maybe some programming, transportation and logistics, which is going to bring more of analytics into it. So in my own case, I had my master's in business and administration before I left Nigeria. So I had to go for another master's because now I'm transiting from microbiology, which has no relevance to where I'm going. So the MBA gave me like my background or leverage to build on. So depending, it might be hard for you to get a PhD program straight. So I would advise on a personal point of view that you start with the master's because PhD will be a far cry and it's really, really competitive, especially for someone who has not been practicing in that field for a long period of time. So please explain the process of getting a GA position for business analysts. Are there schools one should look out for when searching for GA position? So unlike what Joel talked about, if you're going in the research line, you really first need to get a research advisor, someone who is interested in bringing you to their lab. But when it talks about the business line, it's a totally different thing. The question is, nobody even want to really interface with you like that. So it's what are you presenting that puts you above others who are also requesting for the same position. So GRE or GMAT, a high score in that is very, very good to have. The certifications you have or the skills you've accrued over time is also a good thing for you to have. So those two will form a very good basis for you to get a GA in the business analytics program. And it also might help you to also look at some of these professors or lecturers within that particular school where you're trying to apply to, see what their research interest in. And because those GAs are usually tied to these professors. So if you see what your research interest is, see what skills you've accrued over time, let your GRE score be one of the biggest points that you have, and that way you are able to position yourself. So at these schools, you should look at in each of those school portals for each of your program. They are going to tell you what the requirements are for you to be able to get a G. Some school even want you, after you get the admission, there's a different portal for you to apply. So different schools have different um criteria, and almost every schools you will always have a tuition or GA position. It's just that most times it's very, very competitive. So I would have you, depending on what the strength of your profile is. If you know your profile is not too strong, then don't focus on the Ivy League. Focus on some of these schools that they are not, because averagely every school in the US follows a standard, which means if you school in any school in the US, you're still far better than most of the schools out there in the world. So use that as a baseline and apply to schools that you want. What are available courses? What are available courses, masters or MBA aside from business analyst? Asking as an entrepreneur, are there scholarship opportunities available? I don't think there are programs for entrepreneurs though, but they don't call it like a master's in entrepreneurship or something like that. So most times it's usually under the College of Business. So you'd have to look at whatever schools, because I don't have an idea of that, if whatever program they are offering. And when you talk about scholarships are not really tied most times to the program you're doing all the time. All through my 2 years at North Dakota State University, I worked with the Student Health Service, and I was doing marketing and communications. It has nothing to do with what I was doing in College of Business. But because of my previous experiences, I applied for that job and I got that role. So you can always get funding or scholarship opportunities outside what you're doing. So as an entrepreneur, it's a good to have whatever you program you're going to do. How does that help your entrepreneurial skill? And at the end, how does that benefit the society? I think
Thank you very much, Ogini. That was wonderful. Now we will be going to the next. We really appreciate your coming today. Now the next speaker will be speaking in the person of Abiodun Odufuwa. He will be shedding light on other parts of the things that we need to know in securing a competitive admission. Yes, and what committee are looking for. Abiodun Odufuwa is a PhD student in biomedical sciences of the University of North Dakota. He once served as a committee, graduate school admission committee member. So I'm sure he has some insight into what is happening, and he can give us expo on what they are looking for more. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Fumi. So I didn't plan that I was going to give any talk today at all, but the third person is not available, so I just have to step in. But I hope you can hear me, everybody. Can we hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, good. So let me start out by just making some point. I mean, good enough. Joel and Ogini has covered everything that everyone should know, provided that you really patiently listen to those things and you understand what they are saying. Because I'm not really going to say anything else that they have not said. So having said that, one thing that should be obvious to you from what they have said, which I want to say first and foremost, everybody, is that you don't need any agent to apply. I know, except you are lazy. I'm sorry if that sounds too hard, but just that's the way I want it to look like to you. I want to look at to you like if you are lazy. You don't need any agents to apply. You can just simply, everything that you need is available on the internet. And that is part of the thing I'll be doing with you today. I want to just show you some things on the internet. And I will do like, I'm just like you, that I don't know anything. And we go through it together and just have an idea of what you want to look out for. So, because if you are an agent, an agent does not know you like you know yourself. An agent does not know what you want, does not know your area of strength like you do. But the one that can see a professor or what we call faculty online, that you can say, oh, this thing looks like what I can do. An agent can learn that for you. The agent you are using, he himself, if he knows that much, he should be in the US by now. So don't waste your money. Take that as the first thing I'm saying. The second thing I want to say is your choice of recommendation. I mean, who is writing your recommendation letter? The choice of who you use is important. You want to use somebody, you can use somebody who has been your boss before, maybe your supervisor or your colleague at work, especially if the specific work is related to your anticipated, I mean the field you are anticipating to do your graduate school. But but I think the most appropriate person to use, not that I think, I know that the most appropriate person to use will be your lecturers, especially if the person have at least a PhD. If it doesn't have a PhD, it doesn't really matter, but it's good to have at least a PhD because they also look at they want to know if the person talking has passed through similar experience and the person knows what it entails to do a PhD. So you must put in those one in consideration. Don't just let anybody write for you. You can't just let your friend write letter for you. They will think that that person will be biased. Or you let your spouse write for you. Or you say your brother should write for you. All those ones, those are not good options. Those are not good options. And from what Ogini said, what should be very, very clear to you also. So that's the second thing I'm saying, right? First thing, you don't need an agent. The second thing I said, your choice of who is writing recommendation letter for you. If possible, choose somebody that you can even give a template. And the person is free to edit the template as much as he or she wants before submitting the letter. It's important so that you don't gamble, because never assume at all that they will not read those things. I can assure you 100%, every word you write will be written. Everything. In fact, they will underline it. In fact, they will bring it out as data, as evidence to prove that you should be taking or not be taking. So don't think that maybe it's Nigeria that they will just say maybe you can use connection or no. They are working with data. It's data. It's what to supply that they will work with. And so you want to make sure that you do everything carefully and thoroughly. Everything, you do it carefully and thoroughly. And you don't put in what will be a minus in your application, even that it will not help you. For example, there's no point for somebody to be stressing tutu as if it's something that is exceptional when obviously it's not exceptional. You don't have to mention that if you have had a tutu, yes, you have a tutu, it's too late. You can't do anything about that. But don't now try to paint it as it's exceptional, because if you now do that, that will show that you are a mediocre. It will show that you yourself, you are not serious. It will show that if you can be saying that 3.0 out of 5 is a very good CGPA, it means that you yourself don't even know what means to be good. So it's better you don't even say anything about it at all. But in a similar way also, but if you have a very good CGPA, you should not also say you want to be humble and not mention it. You should look for every opportunity to mention it. You should look for every opportunity to mention it, that you have that CGPA that is very, very good, or you have that award that's very, very competitive. It's not a time to be humble in the way we say humble per se. It's a time for you to really, really bring out your best, and you want to convince somebody that you are the best. And that leads me to the third thing, which is what everybody should have seen from what Ogini said. No experience is a waste. There are things that you think that you might think, if you don't have experience, I mean, if you don't know so much, you might think that those things are not important, but they are actually very important. You heard Ogini when he was saying that the experience he back on was the fact that his mom, not even him, his mom was selling water. Look at that kind of experience. That doesn't look like what should be on. I mean, ordinarily you could have said that's not a good thing to put on it, but everything depends on how he's able to present it, how he's able to package it. I was talking to somebody about 2 weeks ago. This person he applied for Tony Elumelu grant like 2 years ago, and he won it. And I checked this person's CV. I didn't see that on the CV. I said, how can you apply for this thing without putting that grant that you won there? Because when a professor sees that you have won a grant before, he tells them that you are a good writer, that you have a good communication skill, that you know how to write very well, that you can convince somebody with your writing. And that skill is very, very vital in science. Like you saw what Joel wrote in the soft skill. He wrote communication, he wrote writing. Very, very vital. But to that person, he didn't think that was important. You wrote a grant and you were giving 5,000. Was it 5,000 the money giving that thing? Yeah, I think so. $5,000. That's a lot. It means that you are very good. At least that is what it suggests, that you are good in writing, because you can't get grant without writing. And in PhD, if you can write grant and get more money, that is a plus for your supervisor, or what you call advisor, or what you call professor. So it's really very important to make sure that you package all your experiences. Some of us, like we do in Nigeria, I don't know if we still do it, but like we used to do, I don't know if we still do it now. In our third year, we go for IT and we do 3 months, we do IT. Like in my own case, I was in an hospital for 3 months in a microbiology lab. That's a good experience that I should put in my CV, especially if I'm applying for something that is related to that area. If you have been the class rep before, that should be in your CV, that you are a leader. You have taken leadership responsibility before. You have volunteered before, because somebody paid you for that role. Somebody paid you for that role that you took as a class rep or a course rep, or you were the MD in your church. You are the choir leader in your church. All those experiences are very vital. Depending on how you are able to package it. And when you list those experiences, you also need to, it will be good if you can also lead some of the things you were able to do while you were occupying those offices. Some of the things that you were able to achieve, or your responsibilities. When you begin to factor in those things, you realize that you have a lot of experiences if you know how to package them. So that's the third thing I am telling you, right? Then, honestly, what I found out in my counseling people about this admission is that many people are not persistent. They are not persistent. Many people want to do, like some people call us, they call us microwave generation. Fast. Not only fast, also convenient. They want to do what is very convenient for them. And people, the reason why they are not on this place now is because it's on Zoom. And we have one excuse or the other. Excuse like, I don't have data. See, but because many people are not persistent, no sense of, to me, I see it like not being serious with their life. That's where I will see it, in one way or the other. But if we are to achieve our goal in life, we must be persistent. If you apply the first time you're not giving, it does not mean that you are not good. Figure out what you can improve on. That means that you have another 4 or 5 months to improve on your credentials. Figure out what you can improve on and reapply again. By God's grace, I have first class in Nigeria in OAU microbiology. But I can tell you that when I applied the first time, I applied to like 5 schools, and all of them did not take me. And I have first class, so don't think that maybe it's bad. It's bad CGPA. No, it's not bad CGPA. And when I applied the second time to like 6 or 7 schools, they did not take me again. None of them took me. Mind you, each of those applications I spent money to apply, dollars. Sometimes $50, sometimes $70. And some of them I might even have to send my score. No, I would GRE those things. But when I joined the committee, and I functioned with the committee in the admission committee, I realized that sometimes when they don't take us, it's not because we are bad. It's not because we wrote anything bad. It's not even because of whatever you may want to guess. It might just be that in that department that you apply to in that year, their financial resources can only take 5 people. And their first priority is their own citizen, those who are already in the US, who will not have any issue with visa, who will not say that, oh, sorry, I will not be able to come because I don't have visa. So they will first of all consider those who are from within the US who applied. Yeah, either they are citizen or not, once they are already in the US, they first consider those people. It is when those people have been considered enough that they now come back to those who are not in the country, which means that sometimes when you are not taking, it may not have anything to do with your portfolio. It may just be that you were just not lucky to have applied in a school where they are hoping to take so much people. So I brought in that to say that don't necessarily think that you are bad or anything. Just giving your best and keep trying. If you are not ready to do that, if you are looking forward to just apply to one school and you will get it, that does not happen to many people. I have only known one person that happens to. One person. Every other people that I know, they apply to plenty schools. And some even apply, they are rejected and they reapply again. And you also must have that kind of endurance, that kind of persistency. If you after that you have spent $100 this month, you can't spend one again, then maybe you are not maybe you should not just bother at all because you may just be disappointed. But if you are ready to be persistent, that you will not give up until you get it, I can assure you that you will get it. I don't know how fast to be, but you will get it if you don't give up. So that's it. That's probably the third thing I'm saying, right? Yeah. And then the first thing I want to say, it has to do with, how do I put that now? I'm not looking for the best way to describe that fourth thing. Okay, anyway, so let's start. Let's assume that I'm a new person. I'm a novice like any other person, and I don't know anything at all. But at least I have BSc. That means I can assume that you know how to use internet. Otherwise, if you have BSc, you don't know how to use internet, then go and school yourself again so I can know how to use internet. So I'm a new person. I don't know what anything at all. Let's say my course is. Can somebody just tell me a course, any course at all? I don't want to. I'll just simulate something. Anybody, any course that you maybe I choose your course as an example. Anybody?
Data science.
Data science. Okay,
I
so
wanted to say business analytics.
let's start data science, right? So I go to the online and say, oh, graduate school. I mean, you can start from here like this. It's something very simple. Graduate school, data science, USA. If I want tuition waiver, I put it there. Tuition waiver. Yeah, once you put it there, you will see options coming up for you. Let me see if I can minimize this stuff. You see options coming out. I can just start with any one that you like. So I'm looking at it to see if I might see something that I like that may interest me. I'm just checking, just randomly. Okay, this look like what may interest me. This just me, no, I don't have any reason for that too. Just let's try this out. University of Washington, just for example. So I come here, I'm trying it out. I'm trying to tell us how to do it. How do I minimize this now? So once we come to the site, so all of us that just open this by ourselves, I don't know it. I can see everything here: program, people, admission, Can you see here? I have something here that say international student. I can check here to know, since I'm not I'm an international student, I can check here. If I click here, I can see something about it. So let me just click on the new tab. I can come there later. Then I also see tuition and financial aid. I can also come there later. These are things I want to look at. I'm seeing admission overview. Okay, that might also be interesting to me. Let me also check that. But let me even see what they brought out to me in the first place when I look at it. The Master of Science and Data Science is a self-sustaining fee-based program. Course fee are charged on a per credit basis and this and that. Okay, this one does not look like it doesn't look like they are, and they wrote it there that admissions are now closed. I mean, like my point is that you can read everything by yourself. You understand English. Just tell that you don't need any agent. I'm reading it by myself. I can see that it is closed. I don't know them that it is closed. I can see it by myself. It's getting there clearly. And particularly, they say application for autumn 2024 admission are now closed. Not everything, no. Just for autumn 2024. So you may still check out for other days, other admission. Anyway, this all their stuff, but I'm not seeing what I really want. What I really want is the one that has tuition waiver. So if it does not have, I will not go there. I won't bother myself. So as I'm reading this now, I can't really see anything that suggests that. But interestingly, it said the central this one offer fee waiver to domestic students. Okay, domestic, not on this one is not for everybody. Okay, so that doesn't look like myself. So I still go on and continue looking. I can't see anything that interests me in this place that I opened. If I check the other one that I said, national students, I can see here now when I put that, I can see their English proficiency, what they wanted. I can see everything. I can see proof of English here. But like Joel said, that if you are from Nigeria, most schools this day, they don't ask you for TOEFL or IELTS if you have done your BSc in Nigeria, especially if you are still recent. Like if you have used like 5 years after you graduate, some people may ask you and say, "Oh, it's been long you left school." They don't know that trust your English. But if you are a fresh graduate, most schools will not ask you for any TOEFL to give. And this is also most schools are not asking for GRE. I mean, some schools are still asking, but not as not as mandatory as it used to be. So anyway, so you read all of that there. Tuition and financial aid. Let's see. So from what I can see here now, I can't see anything that suggests to me that they have anything like financial aid for me. Like Ogini said, he came to the US without any financial aid. Initially, it was difficult, but was able to pull through. So if you think that you are okay with this kind of school, even though they don't have financial aid, the good thing about this kind of school is that they are likely to give you admission very fast compared to a school that is having financial aid, but that would be more competitive. So if you apply there with your money, they are likely to give you. And if you also check, you will see where you can apply. Let me see if I can locate that in this place now. I'm trying to simulate something for us because I don't. So in case you are like me, I don't know anything. This is how you will start your own. I don't need anybody. Okay, don't say admission overview. Let me see this admission overview. So I can see how to really apply. 4 year, this is I want to see where to apply actually. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. So you want to apply this is where you apply in this case. If you open this place, we see there. So when you click on this site, online application site, you will see you will create an account and you will apply here. You see where they put create an account. You open it, you create an account, like the way you create an account for Facebook. And then once you create an account, you log in back with that detail and you submit applications. You don't need an agent at all. You don't need it at all. You can read all the things you need. Let's say if you read that story, you can read all the story here. If you want to read it, They wrote unofficial transcripts. You can read you can read it here. They wrote short resume or CV. You can read it. Recommendation letter, 2 required, 3 preferred. You can also see it here. Look at what they bold. They said recommendations can be submitted independently of your application before or after you have submitted, as long as you have designated recommenders in the system. So designate recommenders early. So you see, my point is that what you need to do is not hard. If you are ready to do it, it's not hard at all. You just need to go to and I can check another school like that. Can check like another school, this another school which other school is this? This another school, Worcester. Can check that one also and see what do we have. Let's say I don't like that school. I can check this school. Let me see what they have to offer. Maybe it's good. This one now, they are asking you to pay money. So they don't even have, they doesn't look like they have waiver. And they have this amount to apply. If you want to apply is $70. $70. It's written there. Everything you want is on their website. Everything. No need to use any agent and if there's anything that you want an answer for that you don't see on that website, you will usually see an email that you can send an email to. You see an email of an office that you can send an email to, and your questions will be answered on those email. But let me quickly go to the one I'm more familiar with. Let's say I'm in biological science. So let me try out something that has to do with biological science. I might be more comfortable with that. So let's say I put microbiology or biomedical science, anyone. So let's say I use microbiology. USA, tuition waiver. So it brought me all manner of stuff. Let me see what it's saying. So I'm saying the first one is saying this University of Iowa. I don't know what is going on there, but I can just check and see what they have. I don't know anything about them, but let me see what they have. So I come to Iowa. I've seen it, microbiology PhD. That look like what I want. The next thing is that what do they need for it's already written here. Admission requirement is written there. Then they said you must meet the one of the graduate school. Then they said that if your first language is not English, then you need to review this English proficiency recommendation. You can click on it to see it, but like Joel already said, most schools waive it for Nigerians. And here you can see they wrote it there, $60 to apply. If you are an international student like myself, you use $100. Everything is there that you just read it. They also say you can request for application fee waiver. So if I were you, I will try this out because I can say that, oh, Nigeria is under hardship, blah blah blah. I can compose a story there to tell them that I need the waiver, and if I fill the form, I may be fortunate enough, I may get it. So that one is there. And here they wrote it clearly. Here's the deadline. Priority December 1. December 1, which means that if you want to be admitted for next year fall is those that will be starting around next year August. You must submit your application by this year December. And that's why we're doing this training at this time, so that you can have enough time. You have between March and August to put in all your applications, to add more skills to your skills if it is necessary, and whatever you need to do, like based on what Joel and Ogini have said. Have those skills, have your SOP ready, search for schools. Don't wait till September before you start searching for school. Start searching for schools now. Have your list of schools. I mean, and let me quickly say this. I will advise, when you're searching for school, consider, don't just go for the top schools. Don't just go for the top schools. Have some, maybe like 2 top schools, 2 middle school, 2 lower school, something like that. Or say even if you like, you can just do low school and middle school, anyhow you like it. But don't make everything top school. You want to go to a place that you feel like you have more chance of being admitted compared to a place where you have lesser chances. Lesser chance. So all those things you have to consider when you are choosing your school. But let's see what they have to say apart from that. English proficiency. If it is TOEFL, they say you should have 81 minimum. Blah blah blah. But is there any waiver? Let's see if there's a waiver. Waiver eligibility. See where they wrote it there? It's already here. This waiver. I can see here that Nigeria is there. This Nigeria there, right there. This Ghana right here. Just showing you what Joel already said. Applicant will be given a waiver if they are a citizen or have earned the equivalent of a bachelor degree, master degree, or PhD in the US or any of the following countries. And you see Nigeria is one of those countries. So if you're Nigerian and you're applying to this school, you already have a BS in Nigeria, you don't need to do TOEFL or IELTS. That's what this school just simply has told you. That's very straightforward. So with this one now, you know that you don't need TOEFL or IELTS. That one is gone. Then they said graduate school admission. They said you must have a CGPA of 3.0. This 3.0 is out of 4.0 because the USA used 4.0. So you have to now realize that means that if you're coming from Nigeria, you want to have more than 3.0. Maybe something like 3.5 is good because they will convert it to the equivalent. All right, so let me see another thing that may be of interest to me. If you are using your money, you will have to present financial statements. That's like bank statements. If you don't have tuition waiver and you don't have any kind of stipend. But mostly for those of us in microbiology and related courses, we typically have some kind of financial support. Let me see if I can see that if I can locate where that is in Iowa.
It's under estimated cost.
Oh, good. Thank you. So look at this place. It says student admitted to the PhD program receive a stipend and a health insurance allowance in addition to full payment of their tuition and mandatory fees. Meaning that if you happen to get admitted to this particular school, you don't need anything. Just carry your bag and come to the US. They pay your stipend, they pay your health insurance, and they also pay your tuition. You don't need anything. Why do I bring this up? Just to give you an idea of the fact that this thing is online. So if I were you now, I think I would like this school. I've seen that I can apply for application fee waiver. I might get it. I've seen that I don't have anything to worry about in terms of money. I've seen that the deadline is December 1. So I want to submit my stuff latest by November. And I've seen that what else have I seen that interests me? So I've seen that what they want me to do is they need my resume, they need my research statement, and they need my personal statement. Look at this thing, very interesting. They said it clearly by themselves. GRE scores are not required for this program. They said it by themselves. So this is a good school that I would like to apply to. I don't need to write GRE. I don't need to write TOEFL. I might even get application fee waiver. And just need to get this thing ready. And they also write about their recommendation. Let's see what they wrote there. Recommendation. 3 letters of recommendation. They are asking for 3. So you provide those 3 for them. So it's just as simple as that. But I'm showing us these examples to let us know that you don't need any agents. I've never been to Iowa State University before. I never browsed them before. I put it on the online. It came up as number 1, and I look at it. And there's a place for contact us there that I can also click contact us. If I click it, what will come up? Let me see what that is. I should be able to see an email there, right? This is an email that I can send to somebody. This is an email. This email can email this person if I have any question. Yeah, I can do that. And that thing I can do is that now that I've known that, okay, I think I like this school, I can go further and say, okay, this is Iowa, right? What name of the school? I mean, the real name, the full name. I hope I get it. But it says Iowa. I want to see if I can get the department directly so that I can. So maybe this is Iowa's University of Iowa. Okay, University of Iowa microbiology faculty. I want to see if there are faculty there that are of interest to me. Assume that my interest is, let's say, anything microbiology, maybe something like whatever. Let's say medical microbiology, something like that. Can I see something? I'm trying to look for their. Okay, I think this is it. Microbiology and immunology. So I go there. I want to search for their faculty. Where is their faculty here now? Program facilities. Okay, this is faculty. Let me see what is in this place. So I can see their faculty here. Starting with this person, who is their chair. This is him. I can see the other people here. These are other people in that same department. And each of these people, you can also check for their, so you're not going to look at them. What is their area of research interest? Is there anyone that is his or her interest aligned with your own? If you have such people, most of the time in the field of microbiology, biomedical science, physiology, and co, you don't necessarily have to contact them directly, except the school asks for that. But most of the time they don't ask. But you can include it in your SOP that you have identified somebody that is research aligned with your own. That was why, was it Ogini? No, Joel was saying that you want to state why you pick those schools. So this is about thing that you mentioned that motivated you to pick the school. You can say, okay, it's because the work of Dr. So and so and so, Dr. John Otma aligned with my work, is working on so and so and so and so. So because in your SOP, you have to mention specifically people whose research, who you are likely to work with based on your area of interest and how that your area of interest aligns with the person's area of interest. When you do all this, you don't have any problem and just apply and start on time. So I think I will just have to stop here because my goal is just to give you an idea that it's not as hard as you think. So I will stop sharing now. If there's any question, I can take questions before we go. Is there any question for us?
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
I mean, good day. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this, and I have some questions I want to ask. So, does this apply to other schools in Europe? I mean, what you have mentioned and what the other speakers have mentioned, does it apply to other schools in Europe? That's my
Okay,
first question. Yes.
okay, let me answer that first. Not exactly, but one thing that is common to everything is that each school has their peculiarity. Most time in Europe, most of the time in Europe, from what I know in Europe and in Europe generally, and even Canada also, you have to identify a professor first who have agreed to take you before you apply. So again, my advice would be that if you want to try Europe out, go to Europe website. I mean, like search for Europe, search for a particular country, a particular school, and check out what they want. But from my experience, what they usually do in Europe is for you to identify a professor first who want to take you, who has agreed to take you before you apply. Unlike in US there are schools that do that way, There are schools that we say just apply, they won't ask for that. And there are schools that in that school, some department will do that way. Some other department will say no, just apply. So it really varies a lot. But the advice here is that when you get to their website and you read about their requirement patiently, you will see whatever they require. So that's what I would say about that. Any next question?
I think I'm okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, somebody's asking that do I need to state in my SOP that I already have a master if I'm applying for a master program? Oh, yes, you can state it. You can state it if it will help your applications. For example, in that Ogini's account, if you listen to him, he was having a background in microbiology, but he has done master in MBA. It's easier for him to bring in the story of his MBA in his SOP if he's going to be when he's coming to come and do another master in what's it called now in business analytics. So yes, you can bring it in if it is relevant. Even if you think that it can help, you can add to your portfolio. But of course, if it's like a course, let's say you have a master in microbiology, it won't make any sense, in my opinion, if you are also now applying for another master in microbiology. That doesn't look like a plus. That look like you want to waste your time. And an average Oyinbo man will not give you admission for that. They feel like you've already passed that stage. You don't need that. You don't need that again. They will think, in their opinion, they are helping you by not giving you admission because you already have master in microbiology. Why coming to do another master in microbiology? Except if you are able to justify why you are coming for another one. Otherwise, they won't give you. All right. I think I've answered that question. In the UK, you speak with. Okay. Somebody answered the question. I think so. Okay, so let me read the person what's been said. In the UK, you speak with program coordinator, they grant interview, and then attach you to a supervisor, but you will write a proposal, and the proposal should align with a known field within the faculty for easy alignment. Okay, so that what that person is saying from his experience in the UK. I think we are done for today.
Please, I have a question. Sorry.
Oh, all right.
Yes, I'm asking for somebody actually.
Go ahead, please. You are muted, Tayo. You are muted.
Okay, the question is that what about in the medical field? What about some courses that are, I don't know if there are courses that, because in Nigeria you find out that some courses you can really do them at the postgraduate, maybe something that relates with I'm just saying maybe diarrhea, for example, something that relates to treating diarrhea or knowledge about diarrhea. I'm just saying, for example, are those available as well?
I don't get the say your question again. I don't understand you.
Okay. What I'm saying is, in the field of microbiology, are there at the postgraduate level courses or department that deals with um African ailments that affect Africans mostly? For example, you have malaria, you don't have it common over there. For example, you have diarrhea. So I'm asking if there are programs like that.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for that. Yes. So again, like like I showed the way that you go to the microbiology and you go to those faculties. So when you have to look at specific faculties and look at their research, that will tell you if they have specifically the research that interests you. I can tell you categorically that there are several schools in the US who actually even have an institute for tropical diseases. So, like you mentioned, the case of malaria, oh, there are many people in the US studying malaria. Many people, even though it's not a common issue here, but there are many people studying it. But you can't just assume that a particular department is studying it just because they said they are microbiology. They may not have any faculty. I mean, that's by faculty I mean professor, or they may not have any professor who is doing anything in that area. So you need to look at that specific school and check out if they have it or not. And then if they have it, go ahead and apply or follow whatever they give there as their instruction. I think there's also a question on YouTube, I think. Let me see if I can get the question. I have a question. Oh, somebody says, I have a question about International Fashion Institute. Do they offer scholarship and are they okay, maybe you don't say are their criteria similar to academic institution? Well, honestly, I don't know. So I can assume that they will be similar, but the answer will still be the thing you have to do is to do exactly what I just tried to display for you in a couple of minutes ago. Go to online and say Fashion Institute in the US or something like that. Or whatever you want to do, or maybe BS or MSc in fashion, whatever. If you go there, you will see options and you will start reading about those options. You will know what the specificity of that particular field that you have asked about. But I don't know. I personally have never heard of any fashion institute in the US. I don't know of anyone who is doing either master or PhD or anything in fashion. I'm not saying that they don't exist, so I only said I don't know. They might exist, right? Yeah. Thank you. So I think we are done. For me, over to you.
All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate everyone for coming here today. It's been wonderful, and I hope you have learned something that can really, really help you. Oh, someone is asking a question. Do I need to state in my SOP that okay, you already answered that. All right. So thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate your coming here today. I hope you have learned one thing or the other that can improve your chances, just like I have learned too. And I hope you'll be applying for the next fall admission, and I wish you success in your application. Have a wonderful day. Thank you and stay blessed.
Yeah. Somebody's asking if you can contact us for further more specific advice. Yes, you can contact us definitely if you have more questions and more advice. But particularly, I would like to appeal to anyone who want to contact us that the person should be very, very serious. And that's because personally, I have advised people and they don't do anything, they just waste my time. And that's not a good thing for my part. So if you want to be advised, you also must be serious to take the advice and act on it. Some people, you just take your advice and not do anything about it, waste your time to chat and talk. That's not so good enough. So yes, you can chat us up for questions if you have another question later, or you need any advice. We'll be willing to help as much as we can. Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I
Just for
can
a
hear you.
number, God's favor, are you not on the WhatsApp? You see, just
Are
indicate
you on
yourself.
the
No,
WhatsApp?
I'm not. No, I'm so sorry. I'm not on the WhatsApp group.
Oh, okay.
Oh, how did you get this link?
Okay, no, somebody sent it to me.
Okay, that person that sent to you. Let everybody connect you to the admin. I mean just connect you to whoever I get from, so you'll be able to get our number that way.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm very
Yeah.
grateful.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you for the session. It was a
Bye-bye.
pleasure.
And I think we have a number on that flyer too, right?
Huh?
Is there a number on that flyer that was sent to you? For me, was there a number?
There is number on the flyer if the person sent the flyer to her.
So if you check the flyer, you see numbers there to check also.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.